Liberty Mutual customizes your car insurance, so you only pay for what you need.
Like how I customized this scarf.
Check out this backpack I made for Marco.
Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Bring your eyes into the spotlight with Lumify eye drops. Lumify dramatically reduces redness to help your eyes look brighter, wider, and more luminous, radiant, vibrant for up to 8 hours. Lumify. You won't believe your eyes.
Tomorrow on ET, our Rod Stewart exclusive. He's talking his new tour and Rod's ET-only invite to his Sin City return.
I have to get permission from your wife.
Well, listen about where we're going, right? The permission slip is signed, and Rod did say I could fly privately with him.
Oh, okay. Well, don't even pack your bags. Just go. Now, E.T. is everywhere right now because the Gosselin sextuplets turned 18 today, and only we were with Hannah Gosselin celebrating with her dad, John, and friends.
Happening now.
Sheriff Javier Salazar looking to tackle what he calls an uptick in violent crime in growing parts of Bexar County. Coming up, we'll tell you about his plan to put more deputies on the ground.
The infant formula shortage showing no signs of easing up. Coming up, what extraordinary lengths parents are going to and what they need to be careful of shopping on social media.
A few storms are possible in specific parts of the KSAT 12 viewing area this evening. I'll break that down for you. We'll talk about what the heat's going to be like for the rest of the week in just a bit. News at 5 starts right now.
First at 5, with summer on the horizon, Bexar County Sheriff Javier Salazar asking commissioners to approve funding for more deputies and investigators to handle violent crime.
He tells our RJ Marquez what he wants to do with these positions and why he believes it will help curb criminal activity in parts of the county.
Theft of vehicles has definitely increased in this area a lot, in Alamo Ranch area.
You ask anybody in law enforcement and anybody that has any interest in crime, really, you know, when's your busiest time of the year? And everybody says summer.
Sheriff Javier Salazar said deputies need to stay a step ahead of criminals as summer approaches. He says there's been a rise in crime in parts of Bexar County, specifically when it comes to stolen weapons.
People are leaving guns in cars. People are getting their guns stolen out of cars, and then those guns are being in turn used to commit violent crimes.
In a letter to county commissioners, Salazar writes that this increase in crime and staffing shortage is creating a strain on the sheriff's office. He referenced an unsolved string of car break-ins in West Bexar County back in April, where the suspects were openly carrying guns in Alamo Ranch neighborhoods.
As if they have a success hitting a certain street, they're going to keep going to that same street.
It's why people like Jesus Valenzuela, who live in the area, say more deputies would be welcome.
There could be an increase of patrolling, like late at night, because the hours that they come are more like between 2 and 4 in the mornings.
The sheriff is asking county commissioners to approve 12 additional deputies on the ground and 5 criminal investigators to deal what he calls this uptick in violent crime, and also to deal with the population growth in parts of Bexar County like Alamo Ranch. And the sheriff hopes to meet with county commissioners in the next few weeks before their budget is presented.
As the county grows, the crime issues grow and morph, and some areas get worse. We have to continue to grow with the county to keep up with the sprawl.
RJ Marquez, KSAT 12 News.
Panicked parents and empty shelves. The infant formula shortage does not appear to be easing up. The massive recall of some popular brands on top of supply chain problems has created a critical situation. 12 on your side's Marilyn Moritz says parents are now turning to social media to feed their babies.
I have maybe a week left of formula left, and that's scary.
Emily Clayton never dreamed she'd be desperate to find food for her baby Finley.
There are times where I visit 5 stores in a day.
Only to find shelves like this with little to no formula. Emily turned to social media, posting her plea like so many others nationwide. She drove miles to pick up a single can.
Another can that I was supposed to pick up last night and trade some of his baby items for, that's a huge thing too, trading old baby items for formula.
Online, she's discovered generosity, but also greed as scammers take advantage.
Moms will sell formula and then not ship it to other moms, or they'll sell it for a really jacked up price.
Pediatricians hear the frustration, but warn
Do not buy it from a non-reputable supplier. We want to make sure that that we know what your baby's getting and that it's been screened through the FDA.
And Dr. Courtney Smith says you need to know it was properly stored. Adding to Emily's struggle, not every store accepts WIC as payment. The WIC program has expanded its purchase options and tells us if clients can't find their brand or sizes to contact their local WIC office. Manufacturers and retailers saying they are doing the best they can to put more product on the shelves. As for the FDA, they say they are making it high priority, working round the clock. So are parents like Emily, coping with a shortage that no one can say when it will end.
I mean, the only thing we can do is, I don't know. I'm at a loss for answers at this point.
Marilyn Moritz, KSAT 12 News.
In New at 5, the search starts all over again. The lone finalist for superintendent of Medina Valley ISD is backed out. In a letter, the Board of Trustees says Dr. Samuel Nix has withdrawn his name from consideration. The district says as they work to figure out the next steps, they want to communicate to the community that they know they are working to make the best decisions for students and staff, and they'll provide updates as they become available. This news comes just days after 2 bond packages for Medina Valley ISD were not approved by voters. Those bonds would have gone towards building a new high school, middle school, and elementary for the rapidly growing district. You can read the full story at KSAT.com. The San Antonio Spurs releasing what the team is calling a letter to the city of San Antonio in light of their recent request to play as many as 8 home games away from the AT&T Center over the next 2 seasons.
The letter is from the managing partner of Spurs Sports and Entertainment, Peter J. Holt. His message to calm concerns that the Spurs are testing waters to perhaps move the NBA franchise out of San Antonio.
Yeah, with more about this, let's talk to Greg.
Yeah, it's basically damage control after what happened last week in Commissioner's Court. The letter today comes after the Bexar County Commissioner's Court, in a vote of 3-2 last Tuesday, turned down the Spurs' request of 8 home games outside of the AT&T Center and said they would allow only 4 in just next season. That does include 2 in the new UT Moody Center in Austin. And with an admonishment from County Judge Nelson Wolf that the Spurs should be concerned because of the narrow vote. Here's what the letter to the city of San Antonio said in part. It says, I love you. I love this city, a big city with a casual small town feel and a great basketball team. I want to reassure you that the Spurs are in San Antonio to stay. My family became involved in the Spurs in the 90s because there was a real threat that the team would be moved. Now, we would not let that happen then. We will not let that happen now. There are no Spurs without the city and the people of San Antonio. Your team, our team, together, we are the silver and black. Spurs fans, we are here to stay por vida. Now, raising more concerns for the Spurs fans was when over 30% of the team was sold to outside investors over the last year. That includes 6th Street Partners in San Francisco, Michael Dell in Austin, and Joe Gebbia of Airbnb out of Atlanta. Even then, Holt assured fans the Spurs are not going anywhere. We'll have more on this letter to San Antonio coming up in sports.
A very interesting letter. Thank you, Greg. Well, turning now to an update to a fatal wrong-way crash from over the weekend. The man killed identified as 62-year-old Robert James Sanford. It was Sunday morning when San Antonio police say Sanford drove his white van on the wrong side of Bandera Road, hit 2 vehicles head-on. He died on his way to the hospital. The other 2 drivers suffered serious injuries. They were expected to recover. It's unclear whether Sanford had any alcohol in his system at the time of the crash.
A 16-year-old girl is dead, and San Antonio police are trying to find out who shot her. They say that the victim, Nevia Martinez, was found dead in the backseat of a car early this morning. This was on Warhorse Drive, which is in a neighborhood that's not too far from Old Pearsall Road and Loop 410. At last check, investigators had 2 witnesses in custody. They believe the shooting was the result of an earlier incident that happened somewhere else.
Traffic right now, let's go to I-35 and South Cross, and you can see that traffic is moving as you look towards downtown San Antonio from the south. You can see traffic is moving along very smoothly in both directions. All right, another warm one. Adam Caskey.
Oh, yeah, feeling the warmth again today. 96 degrees, the high temperature. That's 1 degree lower. I'm not going to say cooler. 1 degree lower than what we had yesterday and 2 degrees shy of the record today, which has been held since 2008. So another hot day out there, unseasonably warm. Eagle Pass at 97, Del Rio 92, 91 Leon Springs, West Kerrville 92. You get the idea. Utopia 92, New Braunfels as well. We're feeling the temperatures in the 90s, the heat and the humidity, of course, as well. Dew point still near 70 degrees. A few storms closer to the Rio Grande this evening into the early nighttime hours, especially through about 10, 11 p.m. is that chance. For the rest of us, we'll just be partly to mostly cloudy and temperatures gradually falling through the 90s, then into the 80s. The latest look at radar just shows the action in Mexico, at least for now. We're going to take a look at who could get some heavy rainfall and even some severe weather in just a bit. Ursula?
Thank you, Adam. We're learning more about the tragic end of a nationwide manhunt for a former corrections officer and the Alabama inmate she helped to escape. We now know it was an Evansville police officer who saw Casey White and Vicky White's Cadillac parked at a hotel and tipped off authorities. Once the pair left the hotel, they were chased until they crashed. When authorities went to arrest the two, they found Vicky White with a self-inflicted gunshot wound. She later died from those injuries. Casey White was taken into custody and is currently awaiting extradition to Alabama. Inside the vehicle, authorities say there was about $29,000 in cash and several weapons. The pair had been on the run since April 29th.
The fallout continues following last week's leaked draft opinion from the Supreme Court that showed they're considering overturning Roe v. Wade. Well, today the House will vote on a bill that would put new security protections in place for all 9 justices. The measures passed in the Senate overnight.
We will not go back. We will not go back.
This comes after demonstrators were gathered around some of the justices' homes overnight, including Justices Samuel Alito, Chief Justice John Roberts, and Brett Kavanaugh's. And tomorrow, Senate Democrats attempting to codify federal protections for the right to an abortion, a move that likely doesn't have enough votes to be approved. So what's next?
I think we're at serious risk. You noted Mitch McConnell and other Republicans in Congress are talking about a national ban on a woman's right to choose.
The Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell is saying it's possible a federal ban on abortion could be instituted if Republicans take control of Congress after the midterm elections.
For the first time in 2 years, the Special Olympics is returning to Morgan's Wonderland in San Antonio.
And as the people at Morgan's Wonderland gear up for this weekend, they also need some volunteers. Founder Gordon Hartman anticipating thousands of people show up to the event. He says anyone who wants to help out is encouraged to do so.
There are so many different things, all the way from possibly being a buddy with someone who is in the Special Olympics to possibly monitoring, giving out the medals, to making sure that people know where to go. I mean, there's just so many different things.
If you'd like to volunteer, all you have to do is go to SOTX.org. The Special Olympics runs May 12th through the 15th. You can find all this information at KSAT.com.
My plan is to lower everyday costs for hardworking Americans.
Still ahead on the news at 5, we're talking about inflation and President Biden's plans to lower costs. His message to Americans and words to Republicans. It's your money. We're talking about it on the news at 5 when we come back.
I'm Myra Arthur here in the KSAT newsroom with a preview of what you can expect tonight on the news at 6. First up, a health alert for families today. There is a highly contagious stomach bug going around right now in San Antonio. It's making its rounds at a strange time of year. If your family has been hit with a stomach bug recently, chances are it's the norovirus. Courtney Freeman explains which symptoms warrant a trip to the doctor. Coming up at 6. And a Bexar County task force trying to protect the elderly against those who target them. Erica Hernandez speaks with the founders of the Elder Abuse and Exploitation Task Force. This is all about what we can all do to make sure that some of our community's most vulnerable are protected. Plus, you probably had this happen to you. A favorite band of yours announces tour dates, then you look and see that San Antonio's not on the list. Austin's there, Houston, Dallas, but not us. So why is that? We're taking a look at why San Antonio often gets overlooked when it comes to live music and what's being done right now to try to change that today at 6.
We'll see you then. Thank you, Myra. Well, we told you about gas prices going up in San Antonio and what it has to do with inflation. Well, something we're all dealing with. It's why today President Joe Biden is addressing concerns, voicing how he hopes to bring prices down and hitting back at Republican criticisms of his plans.
I want every American to know that I'm taking inflation very seriously.
President Joe Biden highlighting plans to lower energy prices, lower prescription drug prices, raise taxes on corporations, and ease supply chain bottlenecks, while taking aim at Republicans.
They don't want to solve inflation by lowering your costs. They want to solve it by raising your taxes and lowering your income.
Despite a historically strong jobs market, Biden has faced low marks on the economy as inflation has soared. Republicans have pounced.
These Democratic price hikes will likely be American families' new normal.
In addition to higher grocery tabs, AAA says the nationwide average for a gallon of regular gas hit a new record of $4.37, up $1.40 from 1 year ago.
The war certainly doesn't look like it's going anywhere, but summer driving season is just kicking in. Warmer weather, longer days, people are going to be out on the roads, more demand.
The White House pointing to disruption from Russia's war in Ukraine and parallels in post-recovery inflation in Europe and the UK.
Because while we supported households and businesses got shots into arms, which allowed people to start to come out of their homes and regain their lives, our supply chains could not support that demand. So we are not alone.
Inflation surged to a 4-decade high in March. The federal government releases April data tomorrow.
Looking outside with live cam, yeah, it's pretty hot out there, but not as bad as it was this weekend, so we're all smiling.
Well, and some folks closer to the Rio Grande may be smiling more than anybody else because of the chance of some showers and thunderstorms and heavy rain. Let's get right to it with the big map full screen. You see that yellow box there across West Texas and even including Valverde County, stretching into northern Mexico. That's the severe thunderstorm watch until 11 p.m. That's the firing line and the zone where we're likely to have widespread showers, thunderstorms, and even severe storms. It's not going to make it eastward. We've got this upper level high, the big blue H, closer to San Antonio, Houston, East Texas. That's going to keep all that activity just west of us. So I think our odds are pretty much about 0% here in San Antonio. We'll get some of the leftover cloud cover, but it is highly unlikely that we would get any showers from this action. And right now it's all in parts of West Texas, a few severe storms, and even firing up over the mountains of Mexico. This is common this time of day. The thing is, how much of this is going to make it eastward? We do think we'll see some showers for some communities along the border. Here's a look at the futurecast. This is 8 p.m. And remember, this is just one computer rendition. Don't pay very close attention to the exact placement, just the intensity and the mere fact that it's actually thinking some of these will make it into Texas. But closer to the Rio Grande, 8 p.m. and we get to 9 p.m., 10 p.m. But notice this trend as well. Yeah, some intense rain possible through 11 p.m., but it's going to have a hard time making it east of Highway 83. You know, 83 Lakey to Uvalde, farther southward. I think that's going to be the cutoff line. And west of there is where we have those shower and thunderstorm chances. You could even get a quick inch and a half of rain. But east of there, I don't think we're going to see anything closer to San Antonio or anybody east of Highway 83. And there is the chance of some isolated severe weather associated with this, maybe some large hail or brief straight line gusty winds. But notice how that cutoff is Lakey to Uvalde to Carrizo Springs and points westward. Otherwise, I wish I had better news in terms of rain chances. Unfortunately, I don't. We still have that roughly 10% chance on Saturday. That's it. Otherwise, it's going to look like this. A lot of sunshine. 93 right now, dew point of 70, so it feels like 99. I do think we'll get a break in the dew points in the afternoons starting Thursday and lasting through the weekend. Still hot, but not as humid for a few hours in the afternoons. Talking temperatures right now, 90s. We don't have any triple digits on the map. We did this time yesterday, southwest of town. That's not the case now. Cotulla, 88. 95 Uvalde, 91 Kennedy, Kerrville 91 degrees, Port SA at 94, Stinson 97, Bulverde at 90, just wide-ranging 90s. But let's fast forward to tomorrow morning. Some upper 60s in the hill country, so Bandera, Comfort, Kerrville about 68. Meanwhile, locally, I do think we'll be low to mid-70s in and around San Antonio. By the afternoon, just well into the 90s again. Port SA 97. Helotes about 92, Divine, Poteet 97 degrees, and Nixon 96. Here's your KSAT 12-hour forecast. Partly to mostly cloudy this evening, and temperatures gradually falling through the 90s and 80s. 75 at 7 a.m. tomorrow morning. Low overcast again to start the day. And then by the noon hour, we break into the sunshine. 87 at that point, and then the high temperature around 95 degrees as we get into your afternoon tomorrow with a lot of sunshine and no rain chances. And actually, really not a chance of rain anytime soon except for that 10% chance on Saturday. Highs in the mid-90s, which will put us in record-challenging territory this weekend and into next week. And I want to point out the total lunar eclipse reaches totality and will be visible Sunday night, totality starting at 10:29 p.m. I think maybe a few high thin clouds, but that would be it. So should be good viewing. We'll keep you updated.
Yeah, that should be fun. Thank you.
All right. You know, Greg, last week when we talked about this, you were very clear. As long as the Holts are involved, you think the Spurs stay in San Antonio.
I don't think the Spurs are going anywhere. That said, I am surprised it took them this long to respond to Judge Wolf, who admonished his team for not having members of the ownership group present before Commissioner's Court. When we come back, more about the letter to the city from the Spurs managing partner, Peter J. Holtz, and fans banned from Mavs games coming up. Here at the top of our newscast today, the Spurs released a letter from Spurs Sports and Entertainment managing partner Peter J. Holt to try and calm the concerns of Spurs fans that the ownership is exploring the possibility of moving the NBA franchise out of San Antonio. Those concerns twofold. One, with the sale of over 30% ownership of the team to outside investors over the last year. That includes billionaire Michael Dell of Austin. And more recently, in fact, last Tuesday, where the Spurs request to play as many as 8 home games away from the AT&T Center over the next 2 seasons. That included 4 in Austin, the brand new UT Moody Center that opened last month. Here's what the letter also said in part, and we quote, "I was raised in San Antonio, and this city has helped define the foundation of the Spurs. The Spurs are as much a part of San Antonio as San Antonio is a part of the Spurs. Everywhere I go in San Antonio, I love hearing stories of people's memories and connections to our team. Your stories and your ties to our Spurs have helped shape who I am and who we are as a city. We will keep making memories together inside of Bexar County." Now, remember, in a vote last Tuesday, Commissioner's Court only allowed 4 games to be played outside of the AT&T Center next season. That would include 2 in Austin, 1 in Mexico, and 1 in the Alamo Dome as part of the Spurs' 50th anniversary celebration. The overall reason the Spurs wanted those 8 home games away from the AT&T Center is to expand their fan base. 2 Mavs fans have been banned from the American Airlines Center in Dallas until 2023. That's after an investigation found that they gave unwanted hugs to a member of Chris Paul's family during Game 4 of the Western Conference semifinal series. Paul was ballistic after fouling out early in the fourth quarter after the incident. A touching moment occurred during the Suns' practice yesterday before their Game 5 tonight against the Mavs. Monty Williams' children surprised him with a Red Auerbach trophy for being named the NBA's Coach of the Year. It comes after the former Spurs player, assistant coach, and executive led the Suns to a franchise record 64 wins this season. You won't find a better man. The Grizzlies, Ja Morant shaking hands with the Warriors' Jordan Poole after Poole grabbed Morant's right knee in Game 3, knocking out a Game 4 last night in the Western Conference semifinal series. And if that wasn't enough, former Spurs assistant coach Mike Brown had to take over for Golden State after Steve Kerr came down with COVID. The Grizzlies dominated this game until Steph Curry took over in the fourth quarter. He tied the game at 90-all with his baseline jumper and then hit the free throws down the stretch, giving the Warriors their first lead with 45 seconds left to lift Golden State to a 101-98 victory and 1-1 away from the Western Conference Finals. And coming up at 6, more about this letter to the city of San Antonio from Peter J. Holtz.
All right. Thank you, Greg.
We'll be right back.
Here's a look at what we're expecting tomorrow afternoon. Mid-upper 90s for most of us, a few degrees lower in parts of the hill country. Von Army 97, Elmendorf and Lavernia 96 tomorrow, Timberwood Park 93. Well into the 90s, we're talking mid-90s, even some upper 90s later in the 7-day forecast, and a lot of sunshine. The typical pattern of low morning clouds, a lot of afternoon sun, but should be good viewing for that total lunar eclipse Sunday night.
Thank you, Adam, and thank you for watching the News at 5 with us.
World News up next. We'll see you back here at 6.